Please welcome Mr. Ben Kimbro of Tactical Electronics.
Good morning. I want to start with a quick and sincere thanks to everybody for turning up here today. And a special thanks to NSU, the Broken Arrow Chamber, and as well to OCAST for bringing Oklahoma's innovators to our forefront today. I appreciate everybody's interest in the unique science and technology that's being homegrown right here in Oklahoma. Our firm is a nearly 15-year-old affair. We're headquartered in Broken Arrow. We're a globally recognized leader in electronics training, specialist equipment, advanced engineering service to a host of municipal, county, state, and federal law enforcement agencies and military activities. We support the challenging and ever-changing, often dangerous needs of special enforcement and special warfare worldwide. Tactical Electronics accomplishes this domestically and as well with foreign governments, the ones that we like anyway. Our enduring mission has been to protect those who protect us. It has been suggested in more realistic terms and unofficially, but equally unapologetically, our mission is to do good things for good people that do the bad things to bad people. This, anyway, as I explain it to my two young sons, to the routine disappointment and disapproval of Mrs. Kimbro. I would guess that you all recall the emotionally disturbing and grotesque events just after midnight, 20 July 2012. A young man named James Egan Holmes carried out a massacre that had been months in planning. A movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. As 12 people lay dead or dying, 70 others with critical injuries, and more than 200 suffering from shock, mind-numbing fear, and unparalleled panic, 5 miles away from the theater waited an equally grave threat to public safety. Upon his apprehension, Holmes advised arresting authorities that his apartment was booby-trapped with explosive devices. In the wake of such needless loss of life, another tragedy, a potential tragedy, lie in wait for the first responders that Holmes was very aware would be badly overburdened. Though much of the detail of the horrors in that apartment cannot be shared with you today, FBI, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Arapahoe County District Attorney's Office are in pretrial preparation as I speak. I requested a brief from the FBI and was impolitely told no. So I can tell you that the contents of the apartment were what any bomb technician would categorize as Category A. Property damage and loss of human life are imminent. In simpler terms, bomb technicians would refer to it as the longest walk. And that kind of an iconic photograph from Belfast, and I think it explains why you would call it a long walk. Inside the apartment were dozens of improvised explosive devices containing thermite, homemade napalm, glycerin, potassium permanganate, mixtures of metal powder and oxides, as well as volatile fuels and small arms ammunition. I'm no chemist, but there's one in here somewhere. I don't know where Cornell went. He can validate that the materials in that apartment were a pretty unwelcome cocktail of boom. In what has been described to me as an episode of hoarders, but with explosives, the devices utilized a variety of triggers, anti-tamper schemes, many of which hazardous devices technicians would categorize as sophisticated, meaning that you wouldn't want to go into the apartment and start indiscriminately hitting things with a golf club. Outside of the apartment, in a parking lot and adjacent to a dumpster, were a plastic bag containing a boombox and a remote control toy car. Holmes had rigged these with output triggers to function the devices upstairs and had so created what we would call a come-on. By playing a CD in the boombox, the first 45 minutes of which he had recorded as just silence, in IED parlance, We would call that his safe separation. That was the time he needed to get away from it. This 45 minutes was followed by loud music with the speakers turned up full, and that would have likely attracted attention of passersby who unknowingly would have moved the car or played with it and caused a high-order detonation of undisclosed yield in the still occupied multi-tenant building. So it is fair to say that responding Arapahoe County Bomb Squad, ATF investigators, FBI Special Agent bomb technicians had quite a messy knot to untie, carefully. The men and women from a dozen agencies that in their responsible call to duty placed themselves in close proximity to bodily harm that day did so with an ace up their sleeve, sensor technology. Technology that was designed and manufactured at Tactical Electronics in Oklahoma. So, how does a group of folks go about render safe procedures for such a complex and intentionally devious problem? Cautiously. Very cautiously and with great deliberation of movement. I'm obligated to protect the sensitivity of the actual techniques, tactics, and procedures of the render safe, so I won't be disclosing any of those today. In fairness, it's truthfully not as riveting as what Hollywood might have suggested to us. Another not so small obligation of law enforcement, as they render the devices safe, they're collecting and preserving evidence. In this most urban of settings, they didn't have the luxury to blow them in place or use high-order disposal as our warfighters might in the battle space. Much of the engineering effort at Tactical Electronics historically has been focused on responding to the challenges faced by EOD, explosive ordnance disposal. We've enthusiastically accepted the challenge of providing bomb technicians the tools, the technological upper hand to balance expeditious safety of the public as well as evidentiary integrity. Many of the tools that you'll see at our booth if you stop by, and as well on some of these images, are the tools of the EOD trade, all designed and manufactured just across town. One of the most critical and coincidentally, because of national media, coincidentally public tools employed in all phases of search and render safe was a Tactical Electronics pole camera. In this still image from a national media outlet, you can see it being employed in what would be early access, threat assessment, and stabilization processes in prosecuting this disaster in waiting. Since there is a value in visual augmentation during operations, we've created a lightweight, better, faster, safer, sexier tool to accomplish that. As you can see, I'm going to have Heath come out. We're sharing the video around to officers via wireless transmission to a wrist monitor that Heath's got on his wrist, to handheld monitors, to heads-up displays that can be fitted to helmets, and as well rebroadcast out to command staff remotely. Those officers, deputies, bomb squad, and bomb squad commander Rich Anselmi, the fellow actually using the pole camera in that photograph, it needed to inspect a lot of devices, their contents, the construction, triggers, and they're able to do so with a higher degree of remoteness. It's preferable, you see, that if something cranks off, it's better to be further than closer. I hope that makes sense. In a candid conversation with Deputy Anselmi, he told Tactical Electronics in a fairly matter-of-fact way, we'd never have gotten it done without that pole camera. The system that you've seen was actually a requested loan from Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, who recognized the need for such technology on 20th of April of 1999 at Columbine High School, and because of the reprehensible actions of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. To date, Tactical Electronics has supplied more than 2,000 of these wireless camera systems to teams across the U.S. and in 37 foreign countries on 6 continents. On a daily basis, tactical teams across the globe reach for our technology to enhance their safety and to wirelessly transmit video to their teammates and command staff. Through dozens of missions like this one, Tactical Electronics are privileged to be part of something bigger than ourselves, something more important. We're part of Oklahoma's spirit of helping our neighbors when things go pear-shaped. Dozens of companies across the state devote their efforts in earnest to world-changing and life-saving science and technology in an environment that fosters strong collaboration between government, academia, and industry. We live and work in a state where our policymakers and leaders foster and encourage companies like ours to work with our universities and other private industries to ensure we all win. Thank you all very gratefully. Appreciate it.